So I'm Dave Bailey, and I'm here to talk about my project, which evolved in conversation with Anthony about the importance of not knowing things in art, and of curiosity as a goal in itself. And my project has to do with the Colorado River Delta, and which is the dead end of the Colorado River. So it's basically all the dirt that got washed out of the Grand Canyon winds up as the Colorado River Delta, which straddles the border of the U.S. and Mexico. The Mexican philosopher Manuel de Landis talked about rivers as computers, and I'm interested in that idea of the idea of a river as something that organizes material. Different sized stones and different sized currents get placed in different ways, and the river, due to tectonics and as well as chaotic events, changes its course. So it's constantly shifting and reshifting material around in a way that's not chaotic, but it's hard for us to understand exactly when we look at it, like how this wound up there. But it's all based on very specific principles that can be determined empirically. So one of the elements of this, well, I should back up. The point of the trailer idea is a sort of a mobile lab, as it were, for investigative learning, with the idea that it could go down to the Colorado River Delta with various kinds of equipment, both kind of traditional bibliographic materials, research material, but it's really set up more for going down there and learning by doing, and looking around, digging things up, maybe paying attention to plants, natural things, as well as looking at how the land's been divided by roads and what it's used for. One of the things about it is because it's a river delta, it's sort of an unstable ground, and it's kind of forgotten. So it's kind of a space that's open to be determined and used. So there's a lot of conflicting uses and narratives, and I'm interested in those overlays and the way that uses are overlaid in kind of confusing patterns in the same ways maybe the sediments themselves. So the trailer will have kind of modeling possibilities for modeling deltas. Over there, those little trays will have water pumped through them to form little deltas. And geological process, one of the things that's interesting about it is they're scale independent. So the same logic that organizes the information at this scale is organized it at the scale of the American Southwest. So they become really nice little modeling spaces. I also have a bunch of Lego blocks that people may be familiar with as a more kind of geometric way of building up these delta formations. And I think the meaning of the work kind of exists somewhere in that gap between this way of organizing it, but meaning the kind of rational, gridded way, and the more organic, natural way. And I think of human endeavor in terms of generating knowledge is always about that, trying to take something that's quite chaotic and maybe ununderstandable in a certain way, and apply our inherited tools for understanding. And there's always a gap, a slippage between those things. And that's, I guess, one of the points of the piece is to kind of like materialize that gap and understand it as a limit, but also to kind of take some pleasure in the slippage. And thirdly, understanding that there is a gap, I think it's kind of becomes politically and personally more interesting and empowering to kind of develop one's own ways of understanding the world. And that's in a way kind of what I hope people are get a certain access to.